श्री नृसिंहस्तोत्रम्। प्रह्लाद उवाच नमस्ते पुण्डरीकाक्ष नमस्ते पुरुषोत्तम नमस्ते सर्वलोकात्मन् नमस्ते तिग्मचक्रिणे नमस्ते पुण्डरीकाक्ष नमस्ते पुरुषोत्तम नमस्ते सर्वलोकात्मन् नमस्ते तिग्मचक्रिणे नमस्ते वासुदेवाय नमस्ते करुणाकर नमस्ते विश्वरूपाय नमस्ते सर्वमूर्तये नमो ब्रह्मण्यदेवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ब्रह्मत्वे सृजते विश्वम् स्थितौ पालयते पुनः रुद्ररूपाय कल्पान्ते नमस्तुभ्यं त्रिमूर्तये। देवा यक्षाः सुरासिद्धा नागा गन्धर्वकिन्नराः पिशाचा राक्षसाश्चैव मनुष्याः पशवस्तथा पक्षिणस्थावराश्चैव पिपीलिकसरीसृपाः भूम्यापोऽग्निर्नभो वायुः शब्दस्पर्शस्तथा रसः रूपं गन्धो मनो बुद्धिः आत्मा कालस्तथा गुणाः एतेषां परमार्थश्च सर्वमेतत्त्वमच्युत। विद्या विद्ये भवान् सत्यम् असत्यं त्वं विषामृते प्रवृत्तं च निवृत्तं च कर्म वेदोदितं भवान् समस्तकर्म भोक्ता च कर्मोपकरणानि च त्वमेव विष्णो सर्वाणि सर्वकर्मफलं च यत् मय्यन्यत्र तथा शेष भूतेषु भुवनेषु च तवैव व्याप्तिरैश्वर्य गुणसंसूचिकी प्रभो। त्वां योगिनश्चिन्तयन्ति त्वां यजन्ति च याजकाः हव्यकव्यभुगेकस्त्वं पितृदेवस्वरूपधृत् रूपं महत्ते स्थितमत्र विश्वं ततश्च सूक्ष्मं जगदेतदीश रूपाणि सूक्ष्माणि च भूतभेदाः तेष्वन्तरात्माख्यमतीव सूक्ष्मम् तस्माच्च सूक्ष्मादिविशेषणानाम् अगोचरे यत्परमात्मरूपम् किमप्यचिन्त्यं तव रूपमस्ति तस्मै नमस्ते पुरुषोत्तमाय। सर्वभूतेषु सर्वात्मन् या शक्तिरपरा तव।
From the 7th canto, chapter 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord slays the king of the demons. Few texts starting from 14. Evam duruktai muhur artayandusa sutam mahabhagavatam mahasuraha kaktam prakipatito varsanatat stambham tata tigansvamustina. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu was very great in bodily strength. Thus chastised his exalted devotee son Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Text 15. Tadaiva tasmin ninado tipasano Bhakhuva yananda Kataham Askutat Yambaisva Vishnyo Pagatam Tvajadaya Shudvasva Dhamat pratyayam angamere. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. O my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma, and when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As we sometimes become very much afraid at the sound of a thunderbolt, perhaps thinking that our houses will be destroyed, the great demigods like Lord Brahma feared the thundering sound that came from the pillar. Feared the thundering sound that came from the pillar in front of Hiranyakashipu. Text 16. Savikraman putra badhepsur ojasa nishamya nirhradam apurvam adbhutam anta sabhayam na tadarshatatpadam vitatra suryana surari utapa. While showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound which had never before been heard. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find the origin of that sound in the assembly. Verse 17. Satyam vidatam nijavritya vasitam vyaktim chabutesh akhireshu chatmana adrishyatatya bhuta rupam udvahan stambhe Sambhayam Nambikam Namanusam. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar opposite an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, exhibited a wonderful form never seen before. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. Purport. When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, "Where is your Lord? Is he present in that pillar?" Prahlad Maharaj furiously replied, "Yes, my Lord is present everywhere." Therefore, to convince Hiranyakashipu that the statement of Prahlad Maharaj was unmistakably true, the Lord appeared from the pillar. The Lord appeared as half lion and half man, so that Hiranyakashipu could not understand whether the great giant was a lion or a human being. To substantiate Prahlad's statement, the Lord proved that his devotee, as declared in Bhagavad Gita, is never vanquished. Prahlad Maharaj's demoniac father had repeatedly threatened to kill Prahlad, but Prahlad was confident that he could not be killed, since he was protected by the Supreme Lord. By appearing from the pillar, the Lord encouraged his devotee, saying in effect, "Don't worry, I am present here." By manifesting his form as Narasimhadev, the Lord also preserved the truth of Lord Brahma's promise that Hiranyakashipu was not to be killed by any animal or any man. The Lord appeared in form that could not be said to be fully a man or a lion. And so then the description is continuing from this point, explaining how Hiranyakashipu, even though completely deluded, because he saw a creature which no one ever saw before, and he thought he knows everything what's going on in the universe, because he was in full control. But then Lord surprised him. Lord always has many surprises. And nevertheless, Hiranyakashipu was fighting with Narasimhadev. And as we sing, that Hiranyakashipu's chest was like Shila, was like a stone. But Narasimhadev's claws or nails were like chisels. And he cut this stone very easily, stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu. Actually, Hiranyakashipu's body was so strong because after he performed the austerities and then Lord Brahma poured Amrit over his body and he got amazing celestial body, invincible body, which was so strong that even the thunderbolt of Indra couldn't do any harm to him. Like, sometimes, here in Canada you have cold winters, and if you wear woolen sweater or something like that, and sometimes you have this static electricity on your clothes, right? Which makes cracking sound, but doesn't do any much harm, right? So the striking of the, lightning bolt of Indra over the body of Hiranyakashipu kind of resembled that, static electricity. Didn't do much harm. So no one could defeat Hiranyakashipu, he was so strong. But then it is described that Narasimhadev easily defeated him. Actually, this part of Srimad Bhagavatam is really wonderful because it describes how Hiranyakashipu, he was so serious about fighting with Narasimhadev. And despite of, Narasimhadev having such a huge form, and despite of having so many weapons in his hands, and so many hands also, and Hiranyakashipu had only 2 hands, and he was much smaller than Narasimhadev. Still he was fighting with him. That is the false ego. False ego is something which is completely blinding people. So he was completely blinded by the influence of his false ego. He was thinking that he had the chance to defeat Narasimhadev. And actually, Narasimhadev, as it is described in different Puranas, because this is Nitya Lila, so he appears many, many times. We have in South India, very wonderful place, which is Ahobilam Kshetra. I know the head priest of the Ahobilam temple actually lives in Chennai. Very wonderful, Sri Vaishnava, very young and enthusiastic preacher. And so this place is dedicated to Lord Narasimhadev. Because Lord Narasimhadev appeared in Ahobilam. And thank you. And we also have, if you go to, how many of you been to Ahobilam? Okay, a few people, that's very good. So this place is dedicated to the appearance of Lord Narasimhadev. Also in Navadvip, we have Narasimhapalli, another place dedicated to Lord Narasimhadev. He made his stopover after killing Hiranyakashipu to rinse his hands, rinse the blood of his hands. And by the way, this particular pastime which is described here didn't even happen on this planet. It happened on the heavenly planets. But there are so many instances of appearance of Lord Narasimhadev. We were talking with Ananda Gauranga Prabhu, because today is dedicated to the appearance of Lord Narasimhadev. But we had appearance of Lord Narasimhadev a few weeks back. And I said it's absolutely legitimate to celebrate the appearance of Lord Narasimhadev more than once a year. We can celebrate his appearance not only every year, every month we can celebrate, every week we can celebrate, every day we can celebrate, every hour, every minute, every second we can celebrate. Because since time immemorial, Lord Narasimhadev keeps appearing in different places, at different times, So probably the entire range of, the time scale within the 24 hours and I'm not so good in maths, that so many minutes and so many seconds, probably the entire range of time is covered by all his appearances already. So, therefore it is called Nitya Lila, eternal pastime. So Narasimhadev keeps appearing and reappearing in different parts of the universe, and I'm pretty sure that he appeared on our planet much more than one time. So if there is more than one place on this planet dedicated to the appearance of Lord Narasimhadev, that's not to be confused. Yeah, it's quite legitimate because he appeared many, many times. And in other places in Puranas, like there is specific Nrsimha Purana dedicated for Lord Narasimhadev, and some of his other pastimes are described, how he appeared. Same scenario, same Hiranyakashipu, same Prahlad Maharaj, same Narasimhadev, but actually it's only Narasimhadev who is the same.
Right.
Hiranyakashipu is a different jiva, Prahlad Maharaj is a different jiva, right? Because after this pastime they become liberated. And then another person is playing the role of Hiranyakashipu, another person is playing the role of Prahlad Maharaj. And so Narasimhadev, just for variety, he's changing some details of his pastimes. It is like I heard different episodes from my Guru Maharaj, Shalendra Maharaj, who is a great fan of Lord Narasimhadev, Narasimha Bhakti, and also his appearance is very close to Narasimha Chaturdashi. And so he was recalling these descriptions, how Lord Narasimhadev appeared one time from a lamp on the table. And another time Narasimhadev appeared from the lotus flower, small, and then he grew. But then the other time, in the same circumstance, Hiranyakashipu challenging Prahlad Maharaj, where is your Lord? And that time, Narasimhadev didn't appear from anywhere, he just walked into the town. He just appeared on the horizon. And when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, where is your Lord? Then he heard the very strange sound, boom, boom, like a earthquake, but happening on regular, the sound coming in regular intervals, and the whole earth is shaking. And then he was asking, where is your Lord? And then Prahlad Maharaj showed, here is my Lord. And then on the horizon, Hiranyakashipu saw that gigantic figure of Narasimhadev walking into the town and entering into the palace, etc. And in that instance, Narasimhadev appeared in an enormously gigantic form. And still Hiranyakashipu was fighting with him. Still Hiranyakashipu was thinking, I'll defeat him. This is how big the false ego of the demons are. Much bigger than they themselves. And so then it is described that Narasimhadev was fighting with Hiranyakashipu, and then he kind of caught hold of him. But then Hiranyakashipu disappeared somewhere. Some little blood came out, but then Hiranyakashipu disappeared. And Narasimhadev was a little puzzled. He was looking here and there. No Hiranyakashipu. So Narasimhadev decided, okay, what to do? He escaped. I cannot find him. So and then he went, and on the way, in the same way as he had a stopover at Narasimhapalli, he also had a stopover somewhere, again to wash his hands. And then he was, because hands were covered with blood, and so he was washing them thoroughly, and then from under his nails, on, one nail on the right hand and one nail on the left hand, two halves of the body of Hiranyakashipu fell out. Actually, it is described that Hiranyakashipu was so small in that pastime, he just got stuck under Narasimhadev's nails. But still he was fighting with him. In that circumstance, he was foolish enough to think, I have a chance to defeat Narasimhadev. And this is happening every time. So in this particular pastime, which is described in Bhagavad Puran, that Hiranyakashipu was not that much smaller than Narasimhadev, so maybe just a few times, maybe 3 or 4 times, whatever. And then he was thinking that I have good chances to defeat Narasimhadev, and he continually was, charging at Narasimhadev. And then it is described, because Narasimhadev is in the form of a half lion, so it is described as a cat is playing with the mouse. Before killing the mouse, the cat is just throwing the mouse here and there. So, Narasimhadev was taking Hiranyakashipu, throwing him against this wall, that wall, like you watch in these, action movies. Some guys, flying, getting smashed against this wall and that wall. So this is what was happening with Hiranyakashipu repeatedly. And regularly he was fainting, he was going unconscious on the floor, but then Narasimhadev was waiting what will happen next. But then after he would regain his consciousness, he would pick up his sword and again charge, at Narasimhadev. And finally, Srimad Bhagavatam just gives synopsis of this pastime, very short descriptions, but other Puranas, they described it more elaborately. And Srimad Bhagavatam says that at a certain point, Narasimhadev just started laughing at Hiranyakashipu, because it was so foolish. Narasimhadev was just playing with him, right? Was not taking it seriously, like a fight. Srila Prabhupada said in one class, Krishna is always happy, and therefore he's always smiling. Never stops smiling, even when he's fighting with demons, he continues smiling. And so yes, even though Narasimhadev was displaying this kind of anger superficially, but it was like in a play, scaring Hiranyakashipu, trying to help him to understand that he's putting his life at great risk by fighting with him. But then Hiranyakashipu was continuously attacking Narasimhadev, and at one point Narasimhadev started laughing. He broke into very loud laughter, and it says that this laughter, because Krishna has very, very deep voice in general. It's described when Krishna speaks, it's like the sound of thunder, very deep and penetrating. His voice is very deep, and that it goes very deep into the heart as well. And so he started laughing, very deep and very loud laughter of Lord Narasimhadev, and it is described that Hiranyakashipu was completely horrified, and he lost all his power, and he couldn't fight anymore. And he was actually kind of deafened by the laughter of the Lord. And then it is described that Lord just picked him up and put him on his lap, and as His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj would say, he performed the first surgical operation in the history of the universe. And actually, one interesting episode is described in which is part of Naradiya Purana, and it is a very wonderful part of Bhakti Shastra, spoken by Narad Muni himself. It's called Shri Hari Bhakti Shuddhadaya. Srila Prabhupada quotes from that scripture a few times. If you heard that verse, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya. Jati, mantra jati, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, Jati Shastra Japa Tapa, Apranasya Dehasya, Lokanam, Mandanam Lokal Pranjanam, that without Bhagavad Bhakti, without devotional service, any activity, high birth, jati, shastra, knowledge of scriptures, japa, chanting japa, or tapa, any austerities, they are completely useless. In the same way as Apranasaiva Dehasya, Maharaj was standing right next to Narasimhadev, wasn't afraid of him at all. You see that he's offering his garland to Narasimhadev. And Hiranyakashipu, being very scared, started shouting. Anyone knows by any chance what Hiranyakashipu was shouting? No one heard this? Very interesting. He started shouting, "Mommy! Mommy! Mommy!" And Prahlad Maharaj was standing next to Hiranyakashipu and he was saying, "You fool! The most important moment of your life is happening right now. So you should not shout, 'Mommy, mommy.'" Actually, this is a statistical fact that many great warriors, at the moment of death, they shout, "Mommy, mommy," and just guess where they're going after death. They're going to the womb of another mother, right? Their material existence continues. So if you remember mother at the moment of death, you go to mother. And so Prahlad Maharaj was saying, you should not shout, "Mommy," you should shout, "Govinda, Govinda, Govinda." And he was standing right next to Hiranyakashipu, and in his ears he was shouting, "Govinda, Govinda, Govinda." And thus Hiranyakashipu departed. And so, his death was auspicious by the mercy of his son, even though he could not chant the holy name, but Prahlad Maharaj was chanting the holy name for him. And we know that sometimes it's happening also in the lives of devotees who are present at the departure of their parents, and sometimes parents, they cannot chant the holy name, but devotee children, they chant for them, and so in this way their departure becomes very auspicious. And this was the end of Hiranyakashipu, and then, as it is described, Narasimhadev stayed just a little bit longer to associate with Prahlad Maharaj, accept his prayers, give his benedictions to Prahlad Maharaj and to everybody else, and then he departed. It was very short lila. Narasimhadev just came to kill Hiranyakashipu, bless Prahlad Maharaj, and then he disappeared. And Srila Prabhupada, he introduced the worship of Narasimhadev in our society very early. Anyone knows what was the occasion? Our Los Angeles temple was attacked, and someone threw a bomb into the pujari room, into the deity room. Deities were not hurt. The bomb landed in the place where all the outfits were stored, but many outfits were burned. So there was a little fire in the temple, and then Srila Prabhupada, he said, you should start worshipping Narasimhadev for protection, and then he introduced this mantra, which is very well known nowadays all over ISKCON, Namaste Narasimhadev Praladavadanaine. He was teaching devotees one word at a time. No one heard this mantra before at the time. And so, Narasimhadev is a divine protector, in the same way as he was protecting Prahlad Maharaj from all the calamities, so he is protecting his devotees from all the calamities. And therefore, this is form which is very much loved by all the Vaishnavas. It says that even in Braj, in Golok Vrindavan, Narasimhadev is there, because Nanda Maharaj is worshipping Narasimhadev. So all the devotees, even though Narasimhadev is kind of Vaikuntha Murti, but he is very much loved by everyone, including Brajavasis. And one even more important aspect of Narasimhadev, that he is protecting us not only outside, from outside, because we sing Bahir Nrsimha and Hridaya Nrsimha. He is protecting us not only externally from different calamities, but also from inside of our hearts. What are the internal calamities we are facing? Many internal enemies we have, right? What are the internal enemies?
Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion.
Yeah, all the others, all the unwanted qualities, and so Narasimhadev can make an operation on our heart as well. And there are many stories, of course, connected to Narasimhadev, even contemporary stories, starting from Srila Prabhupada, how he prayed to Narasimhadev at one point. There was one man who created a lot of trouble to ISKCON in Bombay, when Srila Prabhupada was trying to get that land in Juhu, and then Srila Prabhupada, and he was cheating the devotees, and actually he resorted to violence at one point, hired some gundas to attack the devotees, and then Srila Prabhupada, he realized that this man has went too far, and then he prayed to Narasimhadev to take care of this man. And what happened to this man? He died of heart attack. And then after that, his wife, she came and she said, "Swamiji, I'm very sorry. Please forgive me." Because she realized that Srila Prabhupada is too powerful. And she didn't want to have the same destiny like her husband, and so she surrendered, and Prabhupada got the land. And so many other stories like that, starting from Srila Prabhupada, and of course many other devotees, like one of my friends, his name is Patri, he's preaching in Nepal. He's one of the leaders in Nepalese Yatra. He's from Russian, Ukrainian origin, but he knows Hindi, and he stayed in India and Nepal for many years already. And he told me this story that, as you might be aware, in Nepal they have a lot of fighting and all this kind of, it's very unsteady kind of situation. And when there are upheavals, then also some criminals, they become active. They want to take advantage of the situation. And there was one man who was black belt karate champion, and he became gunda, he became a bandit, and he was specifically, he was robbing everybody. And then he started robbing different temples also. And he came to ISKCON temple in Nepal, and he said, "You should give me this much money, big amount of money. Otherwise, if you won't give the money, the same thing will happen what we did to Buddhist temple. And actually they also charged Buddhist temple, they didn't pay the money, and they blew up the whole thing. And he said, we'll blow you up as well. And no matter how much, devotees tried to preach to him, nothing helped. This man was too greedy. He said, no, I just want money. I don't care about anything, and I have no fear of anyone. No one can stop me. So, and then he said, this is the date, a few days later, you have to have this money ready for me. And then devotees were saying what to do, and then he said we should pray to Narasimhadev. And whole night devotees were praying to Narasimhadev for protection. And then next day, they found out, or maybe a couple of days later, they found out that this man, he went, something happened to his tooth. He had to go to the dentist, and dentist was drilling his tooth, and he hit the nerve, and this man had heart attack and died.
Okay.
Interesting. You think that always operates on the heart level. So, and there are so many stories how Narasimhadev is still protecting his devotees today, because the Lord is not like ordinary personality who's been some time ago, like historical personality, been there some time ago, but now he's not there anymore. No, Lord is everywhere. Lord is in every atom of the universe. Therefore, it says that the deity of the Lord is not different from the Lord. Holy name of the Lord is not different from the Lord. Scripture is not different from the Lord. Because Lord is always here. It's us who are absent. But we think the other way around. We think we are here, but the Lord is not here. No, it's the other way around. The Lord is here, but because we are absent-minded, because we are engrossed in our ignorance, this is the only reason we cannot perceive the presence of the Lord. But how do we dissipate that ignorance? In the same way as we dissipate our ignorance when we want to get up in the morning, right? How do we do that? With the sound of alarm clock. And what is our alarm clock for the soul? That is the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Narasimhaya. Narasimhadev Sharanam Prapatiya. So, any mantra which contains the holy name of the Lord is acting like an alarm clock for our consciousness to wake us up to the reality that Lord is here. No fear, Lord is here. And therefore devotees, they are very confident about the Lord's protection. This is actually one of the items in Sharanagati. There are 6 items. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati vishvaso kopritve varanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye sadvida shanagata. That first item is to accept everything which is favorable, anukul, then reject everything which is unfavorable to devotional service, pratikul, then rakshishyati vishvaso. Third item is to always be confident about the Lord's protection. And the fourth item is kopritve varanam tata. Anyone remembers? Accept the Lord as one's main Taylor, yes. And then Atmanikshepa, same like Atmanivedan. What is that? Full self-surrender. And Karpanye, that is humility. So if anyone will ever ask you what does it mean to surrender to Krishna, so you'll have to know these 6 items. So if these 6 items are there, that means one is surrendered to the Lord. And therefore devotees, they're always confident about the Lord's protection. And of course this is very unusual, how to say, form of the Lord. And sometimes there are some interesting occurrences when we try to introduce Krishna consciousness to completely new people, especially who do not belong to, I can say, Indian tradition, who are not familiar with Vedic tradition, Sanatana Dharma. I remember I was explaining to one Christian lady about Krishna consciousness, and then she happened to see that picture of Narasimhadev, which is on your wall. And she said, "Who is this?" I said, "Well, this is one of the forms of God." And she looked at Narasimhadev, and she looked at the whole picture, and he said, "Oh, but who is that monster who is tearing God apart?" So her idea was that God is one who is on Narasimhadev's lap. So probably she got that idea from, Christian tradition, Jesus Christ on the cross suffering. So I said, no, this man is not real God. He was thinking he is God, but then he found out that he is not. But the real God is one who is tearing him apart. So anyway, and one time I remember we were going from one place to the other. One devotee was driving, I was in the passenger seat. And we were going a little bit too fast, to be honest. We were a little late to the program. And then, what do you call road police, traffic warden, they, actually we were passing by their checkpoint, and we didn't even reduce the speed because we were, too much absorbed in talking to each other. And with full speed on, we were passing by their, checkpoint. And then this policeman, he jumped out and he stopped us. And we stopped, and I think we were going like 140, 150 kilometers per hour, pretty fast. And then he was so kind of angry that we were completely disregarding that we're supposed to reduce speed, and we were so impudent that even in front of him we were like speeding so much. But we were just like that. Also, when we came out of the car, he said, "Are you speeding towards your death? What are you doing, guys?" And I just happened to say that, well, Lord is protecting us. And he said, "Which Lord will protect you?" And I happened to have little pocket calendars with this picture of Narasimhadev. And I pulled out the picture of Narasimhadev. I said, "This is the Lord who protects us." And he looked at the picture, and I was tempted to say that, the one who is on Narasimhadev's lap was the last policeman who was trying to stop the devotees. But I didn't say that. So this is the Lord who is protecting us. And I said, if you like, he will protect you also. And there was mantra written on the calendar. I said, for protection, you chant this mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he looked at me, he said, "Seriously?" I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Okay, you can go." Didn't give us a ticket or anything. So it's very interesting. I understand that there's acting sometimes. So, you like to hear another contemporary Narasimhadev story?
Yeah.
Yeah? We still have time?
Another 4 minutes. 10 minutes. 5 times. 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So, one of the first Narasimhadev deities was installed in Russia, and Yoga Nrsimha was brought by Srila Indradimna Maharaj. And it is a brass deity. And at some point, some thieves came to the temple in disguise of guests. And they thought that this deity is made of gold. And so, at night, they broke into the temple and they stole Yoga Nrsimha. And of course, all the devotees were very alarmed. And then these thieves, they were thinking, they couldn't realize that ISKCON is a connected network. So they took the deity from South Russia to the North Russia, to St. Petersburg, if anyone heard of that place, and they tried to sell the deity to another ISKCON temple. But in that temple it was already known that this deity is stolen, because there are not that many Nrsimhadev deities in Russia, fully installed and worshipped to the full standard. And the devotees said, okay, we will buy this deity a few days later, and they made an appointment with these thieves. But then they called police, and then police arrested these people, and they took Nrsimhadev, but because, these devotees, they didn't own the deity, police didn't want to give them the deity, rather, and they kept the deity in the police station, and they said, we'll have to make a public announcement so that the owners would contact us. And they decided to make an announcement over the central TV program. And so they showed Nrsimhadev on a central TV channel, announcing, that this sculpture was stolen from one of the temples, and so we request the owners to contact this and the, police on this number. And Nrsimhadev was shown, and then devotees came and they realized that it was Nrsimhadev, another pastime, because he wanted to give his darshan not only to few hundreds of people in the temple, he wanted to give darshan to hundreds of millions of Russian people over the central TV channel. So that was his intention. So Nrsimhadev is a very interesting character. In this way, he's quite funny, even though he appears in this form. So there are many more things, of course, connected to Nrsimhadev. But we'll have to finish, and Ananda Gauranga Prabhu requested to mention something about the project I'm coordinating. It's happening in 10 countries worldwide, including here in Canada, and the project is called SUN. This is acronym for Spiritual United Nations, and it is connected to United Nations in New York and Geneva. And the goal of the project is, as Prabhupada said, this project, by the way, is meant to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's the very first purpose of ISKCON, which is to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and teach all people the techniques of spiritual life, to check the imbalance of values and achieve real unity and peace in the world. So it's very broad and very ambitious goal. So this project is meant to help to achieve that goal. So we want to re-spiritualize the human society, but this time we want not only to count on our strength of devotee communities, we want to bring all spiritual communities who can contribute to the upliftment of the society and direct this whole network. The beautiful thing is that devotees will be directing the whole network, because only devotees have full knowledge, and devotees are very much valued all over the world. I can tell you maybe some other time story about one Jewish group, very influential. Money, our contacts, everything into the development of Hare Krishnas in our country, in Israel, because this is the only group which can bring peace and unity to this country. So this is appreciation coming from completely different tradition, Jewish tradition. So many people do appreciate devotees, and actually many people look up at devotees as potential leaders, and they wait when devotees will take the lead. So the time had come for devotees to actually take the lead and create a spiritual environment all over the planet to restore that glorious past which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and explained how it was explained by Srila Prabhupada. So this wonderful time had come, and this project is registered already in Toronto, and Ananda Gauranga Prabhu shows a lot of interest to take part in this project, which of course will give many benefits, countless benefits to the community in Scarborough, of course, as well. And so the idea, I think, is that if anyone is interested, you can contact him, and you can discuss how we want to go about it. And the objective, the aim is to re-spiritualize the whole human society, but then the objective, which means how do we do that, is very unique. We want to become the main providers of spiritual technology or spiritual techniques, as Prabhupada said, to the government agencies. So we want to become a liaison between spiritual groups or interfaith, whatever you call it. But we don't want to limit ourselves to religious groups only, because there are yoga people and vegetarians and many other groups who can contribute to the upliftment. And we want to engage all their effective techniques in uplifting the society, but of course devotees will be contributing with chanting of Hare Krishna and prasadam and devotee association and knowledge derived from Srila Prabhupada's books. So we can add cherry on the top of a cake and really make it happen. So if you're interested to take part in that project, you can always talk to Ananda Gauranga Prabhu, because I'm just a guest here. I'm here today, gone tomorrow, but he's here to stay. So please discuss it with him, and you can decide what you want to do and how you want to do it here. So the whole country is open for you. People are waiting. So thank you very much for your